is your name, please?
My name is Helen Beck.
What is your name, please?
My name is Helen Beck.
What is your name, please?
My name is Helen Beck.
Two of these people are imposters. Only one of them is the real Helen Beck and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. And here is our host, Bud Collier.
Thank you. Thank you and good evening. This, as you know by now, is a game of deliberate misrepresentation, wherein four presumably smart people try to find out which one of three challengers has sworn to tell the truth. To Tell the Truth is brought to you each Tuesday by Geritol, America's #1 tonic, the high-potency tonic that helps you feel stronger fast. Right now, let's meet our cross-examiners. What is your name, please?
My name is Polly Burton.
My name is Ralph Bellamy.
My name is Kitty Carlisle.
My name is Carl Reiner.
Now, these three people all claim to be Helen Beck. Of course, only one is the real Helen Beck. The other two have assumed that identity, and of course, they do not have to stick to the truth. Now, panel, in front of you, there is a copy of an affidavit. Will you please follow along while I read it? I, Helen Beck, am a first-year college student. I have been dancing since I was 6 years old, and at one time was under contract to Cecil B. DeMille. I appeared in several of his movie epics. I am perhaps best known, however, as the originator of the fan dance and the bubble dance, which I performed under my professional name, Sally Rand. I swear that the above statement is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Signed, Helen Beck. Now on with our game. Okay, it's time now to play our game, panel. These three people all claim to be Sally Rand, originator of the fan and bubble dance. Remember, of course, that only the real Sally Rand is required to answer your questions truthfully. Each of you will question until you hear this signal, and at the end of the questioning period, you will each be asked to cast your vote for the one person who, in your opinion, is the real Sally Rand. And let's start this questioning round with Ralph Bellamy. Ralph?
#1, you say you made some moving pictures with Mr. DeMille. Will you name the pictures?
Oh, dear, so long ago. The Vulgar Boatman and, oh, dear, so long ago.
All right. #2, where did you make, what studio did you make these pictures
Culver
at?
City.
Culver City.
Mm-hmm.
#3, what studio did you make these pictures at?
At DeMille Studio.
Where?
DeMille Studio.
DeMille Studio. Whereabouts? What's the address?
Culver City.
On we go down the line to Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
#1, where were you born?
In Missouri.
In Missouri. When you do a bubble dance, do you work inside the bubble or outside the bubble?
Oh, dear, outside of the bubble.
Outside the bubble.
Of course.
Do you use body makeup?
Yes.
#2, what have you gone back to college to study?
Accounting. My husband's a contractor, and I decided to go back and study accounting, and perhaps I could help him.
#3, when you worked, were you ever close enough to your audience to have any part of your equipment destroyed? Oh, why, I don't think so.
He'd remember if it had. Carl Reiner.
#2, were you ever arrested?
I was arrested 5 times in one day, but never convicted.
I asked her and you were arrested. You're both under arrest.
You did say #2.
I said #2, but you were arrested. Were you ever arrested, #2?
5 times in one day.
Did you ever
None of
appear at the
them
World's
said-
Fair, #3?
Yes.
#1, did you ever appear at the World's Fair?
Yes.
Did you use a fan or a bubble?
I use fans.
What did you use, #3, at the World's Fair?
Fan.
And you, #2?
Fans. The
Thank
first
you.
year, the second year, I used a bubble.
Outside the bubble.
#2, do you remember any of the motion pictures you made for Cecil B?
I made the King of Kings, the Bolero.
I think that's enough. We can't go through a long list. And anyway, it's time for Polly Bergen.
#2, to
To what music do you do a bubble dance?
Brahms waltz in A flat.
Brahms waltz. Not I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles? Seems like such a natural, huh? Number one, did you ever appear in The Follies?
No.
Number three, what year did you work with George White's Scandals?
I was never with George White's
You were
Scandals.
never with George White's Scandals. Number two, no.
Have to call time on you, Polly. I'd love to know what that no is. Ralph?
Number two, who was your predecessor with respect to the creation of a unique dance, and what was the name of the dance?
My predecessor.
Yes, somebody who created
Faith Bacon.
Number three, same question. Another kind of dance that made her famous.
No, I don't know. Name the girl.
Number one, would you know?
No time to name the girl or find out anything more because it's time to vote, panel, believe it or not. So without consultation, will you mark your ballots and select either number one, number two, or number three? And may I point out that the team of challengers will get $250 for every incorrect vote. If they fool the entire panel, they can, of course, divide $1,000. All right, panel, you marked your ballots? Polly Bergen, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number three.
Number three.
Yes.
Why?
Well, because I just took a chance. No, I don't think any of them are really Sally Rand. But I figured number three looked the most like she might be.
We never distorted the truth to you before.
I don't know. This whole panel and everybody connected is beginning to make me feel like they're all liars.
All right, Ralph, whom did you vote?
Number three.
And what was your reason, Ralph?
Well, number three seemed to have a little fuller information at the Mill studio and a little quicker answers. I don't know. It's rather...
Kitty, what was your vote?
Number three.
You had a reason, I hope.
I felt that number three had the determination to go back to college after a brilliant career as a fan dancer.
And outside the bubble dancer. Carl?
Number three.
Oh!
Because I'm man enough to admit that one time in my life I must have seen this girl. And I recognize her, I think. Even though while she was bubble dancing, I was watching the bubble, but I recognize her face.
You don't think we thought you were watching anything else,
watched
do you?
the hands as she came
The
down.
hands, of course. All right, well, our minds are made up, and I hope yours are, too. Now, don't cheat on us and change, because we're going to find out right now which one of these ladies is the famous fan and bubble dancer. Will the real Sally Rand please stand up? Well, there we are. A unanimous vote by our panel. That's a good score and a way to start the evening. Number one, would you tell us who you really are and what
Yes,
you do?
I'm Agnes Franey. I'm a former Ziegfeld girl. I now have my own mail-order cosmetic business.
And how about you, number two? What's the story on you?
I'm Ann McGuire, and I'm a babysitter.
I can assume you take balloons along to amuse the children. Well, it's been fun. Let's see how we stand now. There were absolutely no incorrect votes. Panel is pleased.
Sad.
It is sad in a way, but we still award our team of challengers from Geritol $150 to divide. Thank you very much for being with us. It was a pleasure. Good night and good luck. Now let's have our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Robert Fabian.
What is your name, please?
My name is Robert Fabian.
What is your name, please?
My name is Robert Fabian.
Now, panel, will you listen while I read this affidavit? I, Robert Fabian, joined the London police force as a bobby when I was 20 years old. I worked my way up through the ranks until 1946, when I was appointed superintendent of the Metropolitan Police. In this capacity, I directed the activities of 17,000 men. My specialty is criminal investigation. I have written 2 books, and my exploits have been used as the basis of a TV series called Fabian of Scotland Yard. I swear that the above statement is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Signed, Robert Fabian. Now, we'll get along with our game. All right, it's time once again to play our game now. These 3 people all claim to be Fabian of Scotland Yard panel, often called the world's greatest detective. Remember again, only the real Fabian of Scotland Yard is sworn to answer your questions truthfully. You'll again ask until you hear the signal, and at the end of the questioning period, we'll be asking you to register your votes for the person you think is the right one. Let's start this time with Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
Number 1, what are the character requirements to join the London police force as a young man?
You have to be 20 years of age, a standard height, and a chest measurement, and reasonable education.
By reasonable, you mean sort of high school education?
No, a reasonable education.
Number 2, would you say that the London Bobby's character accounts for most of the Londoners' respect for law and order?
I didn't quite go, sorry.
The London Bobby's character. You
Yes.
see, I think the average Londoner has a tremendous respect for law and order. Do you
That's
think
right.
this is due to the London and Bobby's character?
Well, we don't want to sound conceited, but it seems like that.
Do you think...
Carl Reiner. I'm sorry, Kitty.
Number 2, in Scotland Yard procedure, who is the most important man at the, say, a murder case?
Well, it depends who arrives first. I mean, the detective constable is the first person to arrive.
And who would be in charge of a murder case? What would his name be? He'd be a detective constable.
Will be detective constable will be there first, then become a detective sergeant, and then the so on right up the ranks, depending how important the case was.
Now, number 1, where did the term Bobby originate?
It came because a gentleman named Robert Peel was the man who put the police force of London on a sound footing.
All right.
Polly?
We all have so many
I wish
questions.
I had seen them dance. I would know better.
Number 1, what famous murder trial recently in the United States did you cover? Number 3.
Number 3?
I'd rather not talk about it. I always feel very shy of speaking of any activities I've actually carried out officially until I've had permission from Scotland Yard to release the news.
Number 1, what famous murder trial that happened recently in the Middle West did you cover for a newspaper in the United States?
Well, if Cleveland is in the Middle West, I covered the Sam
Middle
Shepard.
North, West, East?
The Sam Shepard trial, I think it was. Yeah.
Number 2, could you tell me what piece of very important equipment do the London Bobbies not carry that the American policeman does?
Revolver.
Number 3, no, you can't tell me about that. Number 2, could you tell me what newspaper syndicate did you write your coverage of the Shepard murder trial?
The Sunday Dispatch, and it was syndicated on the other side.
Ralph Bellamy.
Number 2, who was the chief of police of Cleveland in 1954?
Can't remember his name now.
Can't remember.
I'm sorry. I've
Number
seen so
1.
many since, I don't know.
Number 1, same question.
I can't remember his name.
Number 2, what is the rule of London police with respect to firing at a suspect?
We don't carry firearms.
Anything else, Ralph?
I'll have to pass.
You'll have to pass, all right? Kitty?
Number 3, what is your stand on capital punishment?
Where do we stand on corporal punishment?
Capital punishment.
Capital punishment. I personally?
Yes.
I'm in favor of it.
And with that note, it's time to vote. So again, no consultation. Panel, will you mark your ballots? And again, select either number 1, number 2, or number 3. Okay, panel, ballots all marked. Polly, for whom did you vote this time?
I voted for number 1.
And why?
Well, because number 1 knew about the Shepard murder trial in Cleveland, which is not the Middle West. I'm sorry.
Ralph?
Number 1.
What was your reason, Ralph?
Well, number 3, I think, disqualified himself by not answering Polly's question, and number 1 seemed to have a vaster fund of knowledge. And actually, I have to admit, I did read Mr. Fabian's 2 books, and I honestly have to say, I think I remember that he fits the picture on the jacket closer than the other 2.
Good memory. Kitty?
Number 1.
Why, Kitty?
I'd feel safe if I were in London and he was head of the police force.
And finally, Carl Reiner. Who'd you vote for?
Number 3, because I often make terrible mistakes. And the way he said he was against capital punishment, he was for capital punishment. He sounded like he'd been fighting the whole British Empire for the last few years. I know they did ban capital punishment. He sounded like an individual, but I'm wrong, I'm sure.
Well, let's find out. Maybe some of the rest of us are, too. And the votes being now all in, I trust yours are, too. Right now, we will find out which one of these gentlemen is often called the world's greatest detective. Will the real Fabian of Scotland Yard please stand? Thank you very much, sir. Now, number 2, would you tell us who you really are?
Yes, I'm Frank Hamlin. I run and own the Hamlin Travel Bureau in the St. Regis Hotel in New York. And what's more, I was born in Boston, Massachusetts, and raised there.
Well, that's a Boston rather than a London accent, is it? Number 3, who are you, sir?
My name's Philip Joubert. I'm a retired Air Chief Marshal of the Royal Air Force. I was born in Calcutta, India.
Well, I must say our panel is sharp tonight. Carl, you were right that you were wrong.
That's right.
And so
You're
there we
more
have
familiar with bubble dancing.
I don't spend my time reading as much as I should.
just one incorrect vote in this round for a total of $250 from Geritol for you gentlemen, but thank you very much. We enjoyed it, and we hope you did. Good night. And now let's meet our third team of challengers, please.
What is your name, please?
My name is Frances Loving.
What is your name, please?
My name is Frances Loving.
What is your name, please?
My name is Frances Loving.
Now, panel, will you look in front of you and find the copy of this affidavit while I read it to you? It says, "My name is Frances Loving. I am married and live on a farm with my husband. My husband and I are both artists. He is a professional, while my painting is more of a hobby. I am one of 3 children. My brother is an actor who has appeared both on the Broadway stage and in motion pictures. His name is Marlon Brando. I swear that the above statement is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Signed, Frances Loving." Now, we start our cross-examination. All right, panel, these 3 people all claim to be Frances Loving, Marlon Brando's sister. You will each question again until you hear the signal. We'll start this round with Carl Reiner. Carl?
Number 2, what's the name of the other member of your family, the other child in the family?
Oh, my sister Jocelyn Brando.
And number 3, who started the school of pointillism and art in modern French Impressionism?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
That's all right. Number 1. Did your brother ever appear in a show in Boston and not come to New York?
I don't know.
Number 2, did your brother ever appear in a show in Boston?
He might have appeared in Boston, but I really wouldn't know.
Number 3, did your brother ever appear in a show in Boston?
I don't know if he did.
Holly?
Number 2, your brother has a nickname because of the way he talks in some of his movies. What is it?
Yes, some people, because of the way he talks, call him Mumbles, but I don't. I call him Molly.
You call him what?
Molly. When I was a little girl, I couldn't pronounce Marlon, so I nicknamed him Molly. Sometimes I call him Molly-O.
Which does he prefer?
He likes Molly very much.
Oh. Number one, could you tell me Marlon Brando's, the name of Marlon Brando's legitimate theater agent?
Music Corporation of America.
Ralph Bellamy.
Number one, do you know who was originally cast in Marlon Brando's part in Waterfront before he took it over?
No,
Number two, same question.
I don't know who was originally cast. I believe Marlon had the part all the time.
Number three, same question.
I don't know who it was either.
Number one, what?
Are you sure you're his brother?
Kitty Carlisle.
Number one, do you follow your sister's career on the stage?
Well, I don't follow her from town to town.
No, but I mean you do know the plays that she's been in.
I hope better than her brother.
Would you, for instance, know anything about the Caine Mutiny?
She's never been in the Caine Mutiny that I know of.
Number two, does your mother paint?
No, my mother knows nothing about art.
That's it. The end of the line. Time once again to vote.
How can we
panel.
know when they don't?
That's for you to figure out. So mark your ballots, if you will, please, panel. And again, remember you are trying to select either number one, number two, or number three. Polly? Panel all marked? Okay, for whom did you vote, Polly?
I voted for number one.
What was your reason, Polly?
I must have been wrong, but I voted for number one. That's wrong.
Maybe the audience doesn't have a
I voted
reason.
for number one because she was the only one that answered any question that I asked anybody. So I figured, well...
Ralph, how about you?
I voted for number two. I disagree with you, Polly. I thought number two had more information and was quicker with it than the other.
Well, I'll talk to you after the show.
I look forward to
Kitty
it.
Carlisle, who did you vote?
I voted for number one.
Do you have a reason?
Well, she looked like a sort of P-School farm girl.
And Carl Reiner.
I voted for number one, and I have very many good reasons. First of all, it couldn't be number three. She didn't know what pointillism is. It couldn't be number two because she knew too many answers. She studied. And the first one was very obviously natural about all her answers.
You stand or fall by that, and so will everybody else if your minds are made up, and we trust they are. Right now, we're going to find out which one of these lovely ladies is the sister of Marlon Brando. Will the real Frances Loving please stand up? Anna, you're really scoring tonight. Number two, would you tell us who you really are?
Of course. My name is Geraldine Pomerantz, and I'm a designer of lingerie for Peter Pan.
I didn't know Peter Pan ever appeared in lingerie. Number three, who are you?
I'm Mrs. Myra Pierce from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And my sister is Ava Gardner.
Sister is Ava Gardner. What did you say, Polly?
I said she should repeat it. I don't think everybody heard her.
Oh, she said she was the sister of Ava Gardner. I'd like to ask number two a question, if I could.
Certainly.
Since I don't get a chance to ask any questions on this show. Did you ever really call Marlon Brando Molly?
No.
That's all I wanted to know. And as you can see, once again, the panel did very well. There was only one incorrect vote worth $250 from Geritol for you challengers to divide. Thanks again very much for being with us. Good night, and good luck to you all. Well, I'm very much afraid that is all we have time for tonight. So good night, panel.
Good night.
Good night. Until next week, this is Bud Collier reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
Travel arrangements for To Tell the Truth are made to American Airlines. American Airlines flies our contestants in luxurious comfort for DC-7 flagships. To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production in association with the CBS Television Network.